What's up, everybody? We are finally back with some NFL DFS picks and lineup advice for tonight's single game showdown slate, Thursday Night Football. It's the regular season opener. Rams versus the Bills. Lineup strategies, picks, high-level advice, everything you need to dominate tonight's showdown slate. Welcome. I'm Brian Jester, co-founder at Occupy Fantasy and single game showdown. $1 million winner back on DraftKings in 2019. And anytime we have $1 million up top like we do tonight on DraftKings, we're always looking to recapture that magic. So what we're going to do in this video, basically what we do every Monday and Thursday in these showdown videos, is discuss the injuries and how they impact the slate, low risk and high risk lineup construction tips, some pivots, and just some general thoughts on the slate to help get you prepared before you read all of our content at occupyfantasy.com. Before we get started, if you like what you see, give us a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe. That way you get notified when these showdown videos go live every Monday and Thursday, when our NFL writer Chris releases his main slate previews on Fridays, and when we go live for our live Q&As for the main slate on Saturdays, plus any other videos we decide to do. So make sure you click that subscribe button and get notified for all of that. If you have any questions about this slate, comment on this video. I'll be around all day. I'll hop back in. But if you want a more detailed answer, you want to ask more questions, you want to talk with other members of the community, check out our Discord, occupyfantasy.com/Discord. Join today and chat with all of us. Okay, let's jump into it. So, as you see on screen here, Cooper Kupp, Josh Allen, Matt Stafford. It's one of those slates where Allen always gets a ton of ownership at the captain spot and in flex. Cooper Kupp gets just as much whenever the Rams are on the slate. Stafford's a quarterback. He should be popular. Let's start with the injury. And there's really just one injury on this slate that we have to be made aware of that truly does impact the slate in a way. So if we scroll down, you'll see it. It has the big red out tag here on DraftKings, and that's Van Jefferson. So again, some of you may not have followed off-season news throughout the last couple of months, last 6 months since the Super Bowl. So let's catch you up. The Rams kept Cooper Kupp. OBJ, remember, injured his knee in the Super Bowl. He's no longer on the team. They signed Allen Robinson of the Bears to be their wide receiver 2. Wide receiver 3 is Van Jefferson. However, he's been dealing with a knee issue, didn't practice this week. He is out. Now, if you remember last year, played in the Super Bowl. We saw some work from him when Robert Woods went down, when OBJ was hurt. Ben Skoranek, he's $1,800. He's going to be the wide receiver 3 tonight for the most part. However, we love Jordan Rodriguez's work over at The Athletic. She's a Rams beat reporter, one of the best. And if you read this article, go check it out after this video. That she asked the question before this week, if Van Jefferson is out, what do the Rams do? And it's actually going to be a bit of a rotation. I'm not going to put the whole article here because it's her work. It's behind a paywall, but go check it out. And not only does it mention Ben Skoranek as the primary benefactor of Van Jefferson's absence, but it also mentions Tutu Atwell. Let's find him. Tutu is 1K. And he was a high draft pick for them last year, played a lot in the preseason last year, injured his shoulder late, didn't play all year. And if you followed us for preseason, if you follow the Rams preseason, you know that they don't play anyone in the preseason that's going to have a regular season role for them. So obviously Cooper Kupp, Matthew Stafford, those guys don't play. Tutu Atwell did not play this entire preseason. He was rested and held out, as was Ben Skoranek. So Atwell is going to have a role of some sort. And for me, I always think back to when Deshaun Jackson was with the team last year. Yeah, that may seem like a while ago, but it was last year. And he played a handful of snaps each game until he was released and got some deep shots. And really, that's Atwell's game, his speed. So he's going to play. Will he see a target? Probably. Will he catch one of those? I don't know. But we know that Skoranek hasn't been that great from a fantasy production standpoint, but he's going to be on the field a lot, whereas Atwell's going to be less on the field, less popular as well, but probably some more high-value targets. So just keep that in mind as you're building today. So that's the only injury that impacts the slate. Let's talk about low-risk contests. Now, if you were with us last year, if you read our showdown guide, you know one of our goals for low-risk contests, 50-50s, double-ups, head-to-heads, where you just have to beat half the field, right? That's all you have to do to cash. You want to lock up all the scoring. Generally, what does that mean? You play the quarterbacks, both of them, and you play the running backs. However, this game, 2 reasons that doesn't work. One, these teams are pretty pass-heavy, and the Rams were pass-heavy in the red zone last year, but especially the Bills, pass a ton of plays. And they have split backfields. So for the Bills, let's go to our Occupy model, and I'll show you this really quickly. This is OccupyFantasy.com, ranks every player, FanDuel, DraftKings, Yahoo, with projected ownership for primetime showdown slates. And for Buffalo, they have Devin Singletary, they have Zach Moss. They also added James Cook in the draft this year. And he's underpriced, $2,800, going to be one of the most popular players on the slate. So they have 3 running backs. No one really knows. Bills beat reporters don't really know how that backfield is going to be split. On the flip side, the Rams, they have Cam Akers, who returned quickly from that Achilles injury last year, was inefficient for whatever reason you want to make that out to be. Darrell Henderson's back. Both these guys split first-team reps in camp when reporters saw them in practices that were open to the public. They also drafted Kyron Williams, who was held out of the preseason finale. Will he play a role? Perhaps. But it's kind of messy. And in low risk, when we're trying to capture all the scoring, we cannot capture all of the scoring by playing a running back because it's a three-headed attack likely for both teams. So what does that mean? That means we just play the passing games and we play any values. And especially like tonight, there are probably three values that stick out. So one is Skoranek, who we talked about. Underpriced as the wide receiver 3, $1,800. Should be popular. Eclipse that 20% popularity mark that we see in high-risk contests. The other one is Isaiah McKenzie. Now, speaking of teams that have changed throughout the offseason, you remember last year, right? The Bills had Diggs, they had Emmanuel Sanders, Cole Beasley, Gabe Davis had 1,000 touchdowns in the playoffs. McKenzie was a wide receiver 5 for them. Cole Beasley's gone. Manny Sanders is gone. So it's going to be Diggs to start. Gabe Davis is going to be the wide receiver 2. If you played any best ball or season-long drafts, you know that. You saw his ADP rise throughout the offseason. And McKenzie is going to be the slot receiver. They brought in Jamison Crowder. Let's bring up Crowder for a sec. Crowder is more expensive, actually, up here at $5K. They brought in Crowder, paid him more money, but McKenzie has won the starting job, according to all reports. And McKenzie is going to pop in projections as a starting receiver for a pass-heavy offense. So he'll be the most popular player. We have him projected for nearly 40% in large field tournaments tonight. We think he's going to be very popular. So when you have a guy who's clearly underpriced for a reason, right? It's not like he's the only option down there. He's actually should be priced higher. He's a guy that we can play in low-risk contests because he offers a safer floor for the salary and allows to fit in the big three of Kupp, Allen, and Stafford. So McKenzie, Skoranek. The other one who doesn't allow you to capture all the scoring, but he is technically underpriced if his role is somewhat correct, and that's James Cook. Caught a lot of passes in college. They drafted him for a similar role here. Even if he doesn't play all the snaps or even half the snaps, if he's catching passes at $2,800, he's another value. So those three guys can help you get to that trio of Kupp, Allen, and Stafford, which is what you have to do in low-risk contests tonight. Now, in FanDuel, these are the type of slates that are nearly impossible for low-risk contests, right? Because if you try to play those three, Allen, Kupp, Stafford, that leaves you just $5,500 left per player. You literally can't fit in a reasonable lineup unless you punt the last 2 spots, and that's not a viable strategy. So you have to pick 2 of the 3, and that's not really something that we want to do. There's no true mispricings like there is on DraftKings. So FanDuel low-risk contests, avoid it tonight. Just play some high-risk contests if you're over there. Speaking of that, high-risk contests, let's pivot here a bit. These are contests with exponential payouts, leagues, satellites, GPPs, things of that nature, right? So our daily plug is going to be up later today. The link is in the description below, where our writer Bismo goes through all the lineup construction tips, rankings, strategies for this slate. Goes super in-depth, everything you need for the slate. That's where you want to read in-depth before you build your lineups. For me, the thing I'm thinking about for large field tournaments tonight, right, that there's 300,000 people in the milli. If you're playing in these other contests, 150 max, 20 max, tons of entrants, how do we get different? For me, it's the pivots away from those 3 popular guys we talked about, low risk. Now, you can play those guys in smaller contests, smaller GPPs, right? But for these large contests, let's talk about the direct pivots, okay? So we mentioned James Cook, $2,800, new shiny toy. They drafted him. No one really knows his role. We think he'll be used. The direct pivot away from him is Zach Moss, right? Singletary's priced up, will probably be the lead back. Where's Singletary? $7K. But if we go down to Zach Moss, had some games last year, don't really know where he stands, but he also has taken some first-team reps throughout camp. If he's active, he will be involved. And is it outrageous to say he outscores the rookie James Cook? No. At a fraction of the ownership, let's go back to the Occupy model. We see Zach Moss projected for 4%. James Cook, 24%. Does Cook outscore him 6 times? Is he 6 times more likely to outscore Zach Moss? Maybe. We don't know. We don't know the true answer. We don't know how this backfield is going to be split. So, Zach Moss, easy pivot from James Cook if you're going in that direction. Okay, we talked about McKenzie, right? The easy pivot for him is if they split slot snaps or he's not truly the starter. They don't trust him. Whatever the reason is, they paid Crowder. He's a veteran, and he's more expensive. We have Crowder projected for 4%. So, don't want to play McKenzie? Crowder, not expected from a raw median projection, not expected to outperform McKenzie. But it's a single game NFL game. Anything can happen. Can Crowder outscore him? on less snaps or even out-snap him. Both these things are possible, not likely. But again, McKenzie is 10 times more popular tonight than Crowder. Is he 10 times more likely? That's the question you have to ask yourself. And finally, we talked about Skoranek, $1,800. Look at his game logs, right? 3.2 points in the Super Bowl. When he plays, we're not expecting more than 10 points. And we're not even really expecting more than 5 points when he plays. But if Atwell is as advertised, highly touted draft pick, lots of speed, is going to play, according to the Athletic article, as a wide receiver 4, if he plays the Deshaun Jackson role. He's not Deshaun Jackson. But if he plays that role, he's going to get some opportunities. And as a direct pivot away from Skoranek, at least half the ownership, maybe a quarter of the ownership. Easy pivot in high-risk contests. Now, again, these are high-risk strategies, right? Very good chance you lose with these. But again, if you're trying to win the top prize, you're trying to win the solo milli like I did, these are the things that you have to think about. So that'll do it for this video. Hope it was helpful. Again, all the thoughts for tonight's slate are in the daily plug, occupyfantasy.com. Links in the description. It'll be posted by 2 or 3 p.m. Eastern, I would say. And that's normally when you can expect it for showdown slates. The Occupy model you saw on screen ranks every player, FanDuel, DraftKings, Yahoo, with projected ownership for primetime slates. That's already up. It's been up since Wednesday. Go check it out. Check out all the rankings. I think you'll find it very interesting. And our lineup builder, occupyfantasy.com/lineup builder to learn more. Build up to 300 lineups. Custom rules that are pre-built. If Josh Allen's the captain, automatically include 2 pass catchers. You can do that with one click of a button with our lineup builder. Build up to 300 lineups, small field contests, large field, cash games, hand build, everything you need. Lineup builder uses the Occupy model values to help you build as many lineups as you need for tonight's slate. So that'll do it for this video. Again, you can follow me on Twitter at Brian Jester FF. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Get notified when we upload any new videos for NFL. Give us a thumbs up if you appreciate this content. You want us to see more. If you want to see more. Any questions, you can comment on the video. We'll give you a quick answer, and we appreciate that. OccupyFantasy.com/Discord is the best way to chat with us, the staff, and the community. So from Occupy Fantasy, we appreciate you listening. As always, be happy. The NFL's back. Good luck tonight. Rams versus Bills.